Well, thank you for that really nice welcome, Jody, and for inviting me today. I'm really happy to be here. As you said, I just left a newborn baby in Washington, D.C. Late last night, and back in New York City. I also have 4 children of my own that I raised in New York, and became interested in parenting education when I was a young mother and was asked to be part of a research study when I had my first child. So there I am in the hospital with a new baby, and someone comes around and asks me if I want to be in a control group for a study. And this is at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital in New York. So I said, sure, that sounds interesting. And it was Professor Beebe, who's still there and still doing this long-term study that I'm in. But there's also a shorter study on the same topic. And the topic was communication between mothers and infants. And I was brought into the lab when my first child was like 3 months old, and then 6 months old, and then 1 year old, and 2 years old. And then we were brought into the lab again when he was 21. So, yeah. So this study is still going on, and they're hoping to look at actually his children. He's the one who just had the baby, the second baby, a couple of days ago. And so they're continuing this study. But they've also done a same parallel study in the short term, which was 15 years, and they've completed that study on the same topic. So what they were looking at was relationships between mother and baby, and particularly the communication patterns that happens between the caregiver and the child, the primary caregiver, and in this case it's the mother. Interestingly, most research done on babies is done with the mother, which is sort of converse to all other medical research, which is all done on males. You know, we've been complaining for years that all the medical research is done on men and not on women, but for child rearing, it's all done on mothers, and they should do more on men, but they'll get to that. In any case, this was looking at mothers, and looking at the importance of the serve and response communication between mother and child. So if you're not familiar with this term, serve and response, which comes from tennis, you know, you serve and then it comes back and go back and forth. This back and forth communication is happening between the baby and the mother from birth. And people look at you and say, well, how could that be? Babies don't talk. You know, they're not saying anything back when the mother's talking, but they are responding by moving their body and looking in certain places and with expressions on their face. And the mother's attunement to that response and taking turns is a key element in attachment. And so what this study was looking at was, I was in the control group. They were looking at a group of mothers who had either stress or trauma or some sort of mental disorder in their life, and how that affected their serve and response. And it turns out it affects it hugely.
Wow.
And what they found from the study is that they can actually predict the level of attachment in a year, whether that attachment will be a healthy, predictable, consistent attachment, or whether it will be disattachment, just by knowing what the mother's state is.
Wow.